Today I'm going to talk about how to deal with the edges of the fabric, and this is part 4 of the sewing course, where I will be showing 2 techniques of dealing with fabric edges. So we do have all this. When we cut fabric, we have all this. I'm not sure whether you can see it. We have all these fraying sides that comes out of the fabric like this, right? So we want to deal with all these sides so that all this unsightly and unraveling doesn't happen. So today I will do 2 techniques. One is using what we'll call the overcast foot and the overcast stitches on the sewing machine to deal with the edges on the fabric, right? So this is an overcast foot, right? There are many types and with different design. What's the main thing to do? What is the main thing that we can see is that there is one, the black item here. So you can see the black part here. That's where the edge of the fabric, we will guide it with this foot. It will guide the fabric edge along this, so that you will be able to be sewing along the edge of the fabric like this. This one, right? So when we guide, it will go this way, right? So the black part will prevent the fabric from moving out of the way. So that is what this presser foot does. Yes, and the second way that we will do the edges, which is quite simple, is the French seam. That means we sew twice over the seam, and I will show you how it is done. Okay, so for using the overcast stitch, overcast foot, on different machine there will be different type of overcast stitches. On this Juki that I have, see, yes, right, on this Juki that I have, the overcast stitch. You can also use the zigzag. If your machine doesn't have a specified overcast, you can use the zigzag stitch to do the edging, or even the 3-step zigzag. You can also use, for this particular machine, this is a good one that I use. This number 11 and number 5 is a good overcast stitch. You can also, of course, use the number 2 here, which is a zigzag, that is a triple line zigzag, number 2. So we can do overcasting, dealing with the edges of the fabric with just one machine, without having to buy a overlock machine for a start. Of course, when we deal with it this way, we must keep in mind that when we use the sewing machine and with the overcast stitch and all these stitches, the overcast stitches to deal with the sides of a fabric, it will not turn out as nicely as when you use a dedicated overlock machine. They somehow, because overlock machine uses 2 needles, and then there is wrap around stitch that is on the machine. So somehow this machine doesn't have that function, still does it in a simpler manner, so it will not look as good as an overlock. But for a start, we don't want to buy so many sewing machines for beginners, right? So we don't want to buy so many machines. So start with just your home basic machine, and you can already deal with the edges on your fabric. right? So let me adjust the camera and the position of the sewing machine, and I will come back to you. Hi, I'm back. This time I'm with my Genome sewing machine. There's a reason for why I'm using the Genome, because this foot is suitable for a Genome but not suitable for the Juki. So that's why it is necessary when you have this foot, you need to test it out first. Okay, so let's go to installing the presser foot. It is just a snap-on presser foot, and just press the button at the back and bring down your presser foot lever to clip on this Overcast foot, right? So when it's on, it is important. Oh, before that, maybe before I clip it on, I need to show you this. You see, it is very important that on the foot there is this bar in the middle. And you see the bar? It's a steel bar. So we need to make sure that our needle, our sewing machine needle, don't land on this bar. If it lands on this bar, your needle is going to break. So before we actually start sewing, we need to test whether the needle jumps over or not. When it does that, what you call overcast stitch, it will jump from this side to this side, this side to this side. With this bar in the middle, the needle not supposed to land on this. So that's why I tested out on my Juki, and the needle is not able to jump over. So then this presser foot is not suitable. So to buy, even to get the presser foot, it is important that you get the right one, making sure that your stitch size is able to jump over, because the Juki 29 set has no stitch style. They have a stitch style, but they have no stitch size adjustment knob. So it does not allow you to adjust how far it's going to jump. So that's why this Overcast foot is not able to be used on the 29 set. So let me show you on a machine. Now, if you have a higher end machine where you are able to adjust the stitch size, that's another setting, which we are not talking about it so much in the beginner's course, because that's a higher level machine and another setting to manage. So that's why we're not talking about. But I just want to show you how to use, if you next time have a machine that can, and why it is important if you're using a presser foot, Overcast foot that has a bar in the middle. You need to make sure that your needle is able to jump across, right? So afterwards, I'm going to show you, if you don't use this presser foot, can you still do the overcast stitch? You still can, right? Let's just show you with this foot first. And I wanted to show you how you can change presser foot. There are many types of presser foot out there, and these are the few that I will just introduce to you. Okay, just a snap-on foot. Okay, to test out your, I hope you can see the needle from here. I'm going to put my thread through, pull. Okay, so how to test? I have already done my settings, set up, chose the overcast stitch, right? So how do you see whether your needle is able to jump over that bar? Is you need to do it manually, right? So you have to move the hand wheel. So let's see, and my hand is not blocking. So pull more thread just in case. Okay, it is landing on the right now, right? And let's see whether it jumps. So the second stitch is still on the right. Okay, I'm moving the hand wheel by hand, so I'm not stepping on the presser foot. I'm not stepping on the pedal. I'm using my hand wheel to move. So it is jumping now. Can you see that it's jumped over across the metal bar? One more time, let's do. Okay, it's doing another stitch this side on the left, and it is, I believe it is jumping, not yet. Okay, another stitch on the left. Now it is jumping. Let's see whether it lands. See, it has jumped over. Once you tested it out and you know that it is not going to land on the middle bar of your presser foot, then now it's to align. Make sure the edge of your fabric is going against this guide, this black guide here. This black guide will stop the fabric from moving out of place. Right? So let's sew and see. So this is what it has done. Let's have a look at the sides. So this is how it looks like. It is similar to the overcast stitch, and it is dealing with your sides. It's binding it up. So this is called the overcast stitch, right? So you just need to practice this, make sure, right? Now, what if I don't use the overcast presser foot? Oh dear. Let me bring my needle up. Let me use my regular presser foot. This is my regular presser foot for the genome. Bring my needle all the way up. This is the regular presser foot. If I use the regular presser foot, can I do the edging without that black guide? You can. You still can do it. Right? So there's no middle bar to jump over. We just have to make sure you just test it out and see where it's supposed to land. So it is moving here, right? So it's still at the edge. You just have to make sure that your fabric is now nothing to guide you. You have to guide it yourself. Okay? Can it be done? Yes, still can be done. You just have to use your own way to guide it. So we are still stitching by the side. So you are guiding it without the help of the presser foot. So there will still be some of this remnant. Just cut it away and we would have treated the sides. This is the overcast stitch. Whether you're using the overcast presser foot or using a normal presser foot, right? So you can still do the overcast stitch. So next we're going to do the French seam. Let me prepare and be back. I am back. So the second edging technique that we're going to do is the French seam technique, and this is how you do the French seam. We have this fabric. This is the wrong side and this is the right side, the floral, right? So we're going to join two fabric together, one piece and another piece, join them together, right? So we usually, I always say that when we sew, we always sew on the wrong side. But for the French seam, the first line is sewn on the right side. So the first line is sewn on the right side. So what we will do is align them together, pin it if you need to, right? I do recommend pinning for beginners. For myself, I sometimes don't already because I'm able to manage the fabric. So if you can't, we recommend you to pin it. You're going to join the two fabric together on the right side. So for French seam, you always do on the right side. And you only need to use the normal presser foot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my seam is going to be aligned to the presser foot. So I'm going to do one presser foot distance allowance. So I'm going to start off with reverse sewing. Nearing my pin, I remove my pin and reaching my second pin, I need to put my needle down, then reach for my pin, remove it and finish sewing to the end, and I'm going to do a reverse sew. So let's have a look at what I have sewn. Right, so this is what I have done, my first line sewing from the right side. So what I do is I'm going to cut away half of what I have sewn in the seam allowance. This is the seam allowance, right? I'm going to cut off half. So I'm left with a very thin allowance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it the wrong side. This is the right side, right? I'm going to turn it wrong side and I'm going to fold and enclose the narrow seam in the side. So I recommend that you go and have this iron, because otherwise you cannot manage it, right? So I am going to finger press it here, see whether it works for me. I cannot, so I have to go to the iron to iron, and you definitely, for you as beginners, it's good to iron it, right? So I'm going to turn off the camera and go and iron, and I'll be back. So I'm back after having ironed what I have sewn earlier on. This was the first line that was sewn from the right side, right? So I'm going to enclose this that first line sewing with my wrong side together, iron this here, and I'm going to sew one more time with one presser foot distance. So I'm going to put it underneath my presser foot. Oh, my needle is down, so let me lift up my needle. Okay, so I'm going to put the edge against my presser foot one more time, right? And the other side, I already cut my seam allowance smaller, right? So I'm going to do reverse sew again. Oops. Okay. So I have sewn it one more time, right? And let's have a look at the right side. It will be joined, and the inside has no raw edges, just like. Now that you know how to, you know the techniques for dealing with the edges, whether it's using the overcast foot or doing the French seam. So for part 4 of the project that we will make together is a simple skirt like this. This is the back of the skirt. This is the back of the skirt. Simple skirt. It's an elastic skirt, and this is with elastic at the waistband. So what we're going to do is the there's only one join for the skirt. Okay, we're going to have a long strip of fabric, and then we're just going to join it this part, and we're going to join it with both. Okay, so for all my packages, when the material come to you, you will have enough fabric to make the same item 2 times. So for this part 4 project, you will make 2 times this skirt, but it's just that the edging technique that you will use will be different. One, you will use the overcast foot to do the overcast stitches for your joining, the side joining, right? And this one is made with the French seam. Again, you see, because the seam is sewn twice, there is no raw edges sewn. So we're going to make this skirt. So we're going to apply the technique we have learned, both the overcast edging as well as the French seam, to make this skirt. And once you have done it, we are also going to encourage you to use the decorative stitch that is available on your sewing machine to do a hemline decoration. So that's why it has a simple hem detail on this skirt. So this will be project 4 for the part 4 of the sewing course, applying the technique, the edging technique using the overcast foot as well as doing the French seam. So this is a beginner's project, very simple. So all my projects are targeted to help you succeed, to actually encourage you in your sewing journey. Yes, so in another video I will show you how I make this skirt, and you can also make it.